Hey everybody, Derek here from Bomb Socks with a new day of Bomb Bites where we feast upon the words of Christ, and we do it one bite at a time. So yesterday we focused on this idea of going, right? Go. The first 20 verses of section 133 have the word go mentioned 10 times. And so the Lord right out the gate is just like, hey guys, here's where I want you to go. Now, he gives us counsel to go from certain places to other places. So that's what I want to focus on for the next couple days. So one of the things I notice in this section is this concept of Babylon. Okay. For example, verse number 5, go ye out from Babylon, be ye clean that bear the vessels of the Lord. You go down to verse number 7, yea, verily I say unto you again, the time has come when the voice of the Lord is unto you. Go ye out of Babylon, gather ye from among the nations, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And then lastly, verse 14, go ye out from among the nations, even from Babylon, from the midst of wickedness, which is spiritual Babylon. Okay, so what is this Babylon that keeps being talked about that you and I need to absolutely go away from? So I was reading a talk, this was several years ago, and as I was searching this topic a little bit of Babylon, I came across a talk that I remember loving. It was in 2008. It was by Elder D. Todd Christofferson, and it was called Come to Zion, because if you're going out of Babylon, you got to come to Zion. So this is what he said about Babylon. He said the antithesis and antagonist of Zion is Babylon. The city of Babylon was originally Babel of Tower of Babel fame, and later became the capital of the Babylonian Empire. Its principal edifice was the temple of Bel, or Baal, the idol referred to by Old Testament prophets as the shame, which, what a horrible nickname, right? Given the sexual perversions that were associated with its worship. So its worldliness, its worship of evil, and the captivity of Judah there following the conquest of 587 BC, all combined to make Babylon the symbol of decadent societies and spiritual bondage. It is with this backdrop that the Lord said to the members of his church, which we just read this, go ye out of Babylon, gather ye out from among the nations, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So the Lord has said to us to go out of Babylon, but to then come to Zion, which Elder Christofferson just said. These two are opposites of one another. He continues, to come to Zion, it is not enough for you or me to be somewhat less wicked than others. Think about that statement for a second. The purpose of ourselves as members of the church is not to just be less wicked. It is to be more righteous. We are to become not only good, but holy men and women. Recalling Elder Neil A. Maxwell's phrase, let us once and for all establish our residence in Zion and give up the summer cottage in Babylon, which is a great statement. And he's calling us out when it says, look, you cannot have 2 feet in the same places, because eventually one is going to overtake the other. So you got to step yourself completely out of the world, which is so difficult to do because we do need to live in this world. We need to be examples of believers in this world, but still not buying into what the world is trying to sell us, because they're selling it really well, and the world is so loud, and the world is so appealing to people. In fact, President Nelson in this last conference, many of you remember this statement, if you are not also seeking the Lord through daily prayer and gospel study, you leave yourself vulnerable to philosophies that may be intriguing but are not true. They're gonna sound good. It's gonna sound appealing to us. If sin weren't fun, no one would do it. It's gonna have that appeal. Even saints who are otherwise faithful can be derailed by the steady beat of Babylon's band. My brothers and sisters, I plead with you to make time for the Lord. So again, it's going to sound appealing, and we're watching it happen. Many of us have seen individuals who maybe used to be faithful in the gospel who are being derailed because Babylon is so appealing and that steady beat, right? So one of the fun things to study about Babylon is you go to our hymn book, and there are 2 specific hymns that I can think of off the top of my head that really teach the destiny, if I can use that term, of Babylon. So one of them is one of the first hymns in the hymn book. It's actually hymn number 7, which is called Israel, Israel, God is Calling. You go to verse number 1. Israel, Israel, which is you and I as members of the church, God is calling. calling thee from lands of woe. And here is a nice reminder. Babylon the Great is falling. God shall all her towers overthrow. Going back to what Elder Christofferson said. So what do? You come to Zion, right? So with that said, let me give you another hymn, which is one that we don't sing often, at least in the general feeling of the church. We often sing it in priesthood settings, and the song is called Ye Elders of Israel. So this hymn, all three verses are fantastic, but let me go to verse number 2. It says, the harvest is great and the laborers are few, but if we're united, we all things can do. We'll gather, again, this idea of gathering the wheat from the midst of the tares, and bring them from bondage, from sorrows and snares. O Babylon, we bid thee farewell. We're going to the mountains of Ephraim to dwell, meaning we're going to Zion. So I love that message of the Lord saying, look, get out of Babylon, and I want you to come to Zion. So tomorrow in our message, we're going to focus a little bit more on going from Babylon and where we're supposed to go to. And there's a cool, one of my favorite principles, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. So, hey, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for sharing. You guys are amazing. Go check out our amazing gospel theme socks at bombsocks.com, and we will see you tomorrow. Godspeed. Bye-bye.